Hey guys, welcome to my first lecture on the annotations and the structural detailing. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be covering the connection details specifically. So I'm going to come to my Apex view. Alright, now what I need to do is I'm after just a section of one of these portal frames. So I'm going to take a section from here. What I can see is this blue dashed line shows where my section is viewing. If I drag it out further, I'll get the second frame. I'm not really too interested in that. All of our frames are the same except for the outsides. So all I'm after is just this one here. So right click, I go to view, and this is what I can see. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to change my detail level to fine. And I'm going to make it my graphic display to be shaded. So what I'm after is I'm after a detail of my base plate, my knee or my haunch, and my apex. They're the three that I'll be getting from this frame here. So we will be using this frame in our elevation views, but we'll be coming back to that. So first things first, we're going to take our apex detail. So I'll come up to view, callout. Alright, what this is going to do is going to just focus on and bring up this one detail. So I'll take a callout, so I click and drag, and that's where I want it to go. Right click, go to view, and this is what I can see. So I change my scale. All of our details are going to be scaled 1 to 20. Shaded will still be there, but we'll just double check. And now what I need to do is just tidy this up a little bit. All I'm interested in is the rafter, or the two rafters, and the connection. So my strut and my fly brace I'm not interested in, so I'll hold shift and deselect my rafter. I'm just going to hide these from the view. So hide in view elements. Same with this. Now you can do this by the visibility graphics as well. There's many different ways you can do this. So either go VV on the keyboard or go VG, or you can go from the graphics view here. So I'll just hide these, and then I'm going to hide my apex, and I'm going to hide my grid line. So this is all that I'm after. Okay, now if I select this outside crop box, what I can see is this dashed line here that's running on the outside. This is for our annotations. So if I put any text in here that runs outside this line, it's going to cut it off. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger because I'm going to be putting a bit more text on there. And if I need to make it smaller after, I can, but for now this is okay. And I'm going to hide this box in here. So my crop region visible, I deselect that, go apply, and this is what I can see. Now there is many different ways that we can annotate this apex. Okay, we can go through annotate and start putting in our tags and things like that. We can create families. It's all very time consuming. In practice, you will have a BIM manager that will go through and create those families and have everything up to scratch. In smaller firms, there's a chance you'll be creating the families. We can do that, and we will do bits and pieces of it. But for practice and the simplest way to do it, we will go text, and we're just going to type in on the keyboard. Okay, shortcut for text, okay, is TX on the keyboard. Alright, and that's the quickest way to do it. So I'm going to put some text up here, and what I want to specify is my plate and my bolts. Okay, so this plate here from memory was a 30mm plate, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on this side, 4 bolts on the other side, so I have 8, and I think they were 24, 8.8, so I have strength bolts. They're snug fit and they're bolts. Okay, now I will just check these. So I hover over my connection, I click tab until I can select a plate. So thickness 30 millimeters. This is our plate. Awesome. So it's a 30 mil plate. And now I'm just going to check the bolts. Again, I go tab until I can grab them. 24. Awesome. So I can't just leave this text up here. Okay, I'm going to hide that as well. That's our purlins on both sides. So we can't just leave this text sitting up here. We need to align it to something. We need to have it meaning something. So we click our text and we put a leader on here. So we show an arrow pointing to where it is. So we don't really use these arc arrows or the curvy ones. We like everything to be straight. So I need this to come from the left. It can sit here and I'm just going to tidy it up. Alright, so there's our first one referring to this plate. Okay, and then my next thing that I want to do is specify my stiffeners. So tab stiffener, that is a 10 millimeter thick stiffener plate. So TX, I'll type over here. So 10 millimeter stiffener plate. Okay, and this time I'm going to have my leader coming from the right. Oh, that's a bit awkward, so I'll just move this back a little bit and straight down. Now, usually, so this bottom here is welded to the bottom of the rafter, and this stiffener plate will have a weld running around it. It's not bolted or anything like that. If I come back to one of our apexes, what I can see is they will run a weld down the side here. Okay, we can't put bolts through it, so they'll run a weld. Now, what will happen is on our sheet, we'll put a set of general notes saying a 6 millimeter continuous fillet weld to be adopted unless otherwise specified, or something along the lines of that. So you'll see that when we get to that point, but for now I'm going to go TX, and I don't want a 6 millimeter weld here. I'm going to specify a different type of weld. So I'm going to specify, say, an 8 millimeter. We're going to use a stitch weld. Okay, but the type of weld that we're going to use is going to be an intermediate fillet weld. So an IFW, which is a stitch weld. So an intermediate fillet weld, so they'll weld a section, then they'll stop, then they'll weld a bit more, then they'll stop. That's going to be a general purpose weld. Okay, and that's going to be to rafter. And what I want them to do is I want them to weld 75 millimeters and then miss 200. Okay, and that's going to be sitting under here. Now all of these will be specified by the design engineer. Okay, so we won't have to be coming up with these designs here, but that's also going to be on each side. Okay, so obviously one on this side of the rafter and then one on the other. A couple more things we have to put on here. We have to put in some brake lines, and we have to put in our rafters. So TX, I'll tidy this up after, but R1, okay, another one here, R1. So I'm labeling these R1 because on our schedule we will have R1 and then it will say the rafter type next to it. So I want to make these just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make these a 3.5. So all I'm doing is increasing the text height to 3.5 millimeters. Okay, so select the text, properties, and then change the text height. Now our brake lines. We have symbols in here, which we will use, but the brake lines aren't shown in here. If I go symbol, I get annotation families. So this will allow me to put a number and then type a property or a definition of that. So that's not what we're after. it's actually tucked away here in components. So annotate component, detail component. At the moment it's giving me a universal beam, so which is not what I want. So load family, and what I'm after is a detail item, div 01 general break line. Okay, this little zigzag thing shows a break, so it's still continuous, but this is a break line. Open. Okay, so if I place this here, it's not doing anything. I want it to be spanning with my rafter. So rotate after placement. I'll place one here. Now what I'm going to do is rotate where I want it to sit. Okay, so I want it to sit at 90 degrees. And that rotates it around. Okay, now what I can do is I can start moving these around. So that will make it longer on one side, again longer on the other. This here is for where it's going to cut off. Okay, so I can see is if I move my break line backwards, it will cut off different sections. So I want to place it at the end of my beam, end of my rafter, sorry. But again within my crop category. So if I extend this, my crop region out a little bit, okay, I can see where it's going to cut. Now this isn't very proportional, so I want to just tidy it up. So I'll move, just play it around with these a little bit until I'm happy with them. Down a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to hide that box. So that's okay. Okay, it's not the neatest that they've ever been. I can tidy that up a bit more as well. Okay. Now I need another one on this side as well. So I can mirror against the midpoint and chuck it there. So I'll move my rafter text and this one over here. Okay, this is cutting, so I need to extend my crop region a little bit. Awesome. So here is our apex detailing. Alright, this will give enough information provided to our steel detailers to be able to come up with costings and shop drawings. So I'm just going to rename this one, our section 1, callout 1, rename. This here is going to be our typical, also everything is written in capitals, as you can see. Our typical apex connection detail. Okay, so there's our first detail completed.